Hey, Natu here. Today I'm going to do a new series. It is going to be what if Deku was the only girl with a quirk. A lot of YouTubers made what if Izuku was the only guy with a quirk, with women's having quirks but not men. But this one is going to be the counter to that. Izuku will have three different quirks. One is a perfect copy quirk that can basically have five quirks copied at the same time for as long as he wants, and he can erase one if he wants to switch. Second quirk is going to be a quirk that is a bit like montlady, basically gigantification, but he can or choose to put it around his entire body to make himself grow, or just on certain part of his body. So like if he wants to, if she wants to, she could basically just grow her entire hand only, or her arm or something, instead of her entire body. So compared to Mount Lady, she has a small advantage since she can also use her power in smaller areas. Also, she can control how big she can become. And the last quirk is, I don't really have a name for it, but she can basically control gravity in itself. Like, change where it's going, make new points of gravity, or control it enough to just look like she's moving stuff around, like, as she wants. Making them float, change shape, making them have certain shape. At first, she's only going to control the ground precisely, but she'll be able to control more things later. So, well, Earth to be more precise. So, yeah, okay. So, in the start, it is basically going to be that female can, girls can have the quirk gene, but it's not activated. Like, basically, if her dad had it, he can pass it to her, but she won't be able to control it because basically it won't even be active. But she can give it to her kids. So Todoroki is going to be a male, just like in the original, and will still have half hot, half cold, because his grandfather on his mother's side will have an ice quirk. Every girl in the class is going to be a boy, except Izuku, which, because I don't have a better name for it, I'm just going to call it what multiple YouTuber did, izumy. And so let's start it. When she was born, Izumi, well, her dad basically is still really fine with that. He doesn't care if it's a girl or a boy. He doesn't care if the quirk is strong or not. He basically just wanted a kid. So when Izumi was born, she was born with one of her quirks already active. It is the gravity thing, but so small that basically all it was doing was making small things with small some small things were attracted to her skin if she was touching it. So basically, it just looked like her skin was sticky or something and was attracting some stuff. Basically, not a quirk. Humans actually have that. It's just that it's our um, everything has a small gravity field. Actually, I'm going to explain this. The way gravity works is not something big has gravity, so you're sticking to it. Everything has gravity. Basically, two things that have gravity are attracted by each other, but the thing that has more gravity, basically, he um, attract the thing that has a smaller one. So that's why we stick to the earth, and it's not us bringing the earth, making it go around us. That's also why the sun attracts the planet, and not the planet attracting the sun. And the reason the planets are just basically turning around the sun is because, well, thanks to the speed they have, they're not going straight for the sun, they're basically just turning around it. So basically, Izumi has one that is stronger than normal for now, which some people are born with that even now, so basically they just say, well, okay, she just has that, it's normal for anyone to have it. So basically, over time, in this one, yes, the boys are telling girls that they won't be heroes, stuff like that. But most of them are taught by their parents that you have to respect the girls because, well, basically, if, well, basically because you actually need them in society. If girls were to have quirks, well, something funny about biology. Girls naturally have more emotions to want to try to be better than people. In our society, it looks like the boys are trying to do that. But in reality, it's just because the women are told since they're younger that it's not right to do that, while the boys are basically pushed by their father to do that. Which makes it look reversed, but if you don't teach that kids, the girl is actually going to be more competitive than the boy. So in that society, I'm going to make it so that boys actually just don't see them as, yes, they see them as weaker, but they don't see them as trash or stuff like that. They basically tell them don't try to be a hero, go for a police officer or another job. But don't try to be a hero, you're just going to hurt yourself. So Bakugo is going to be Bakugo for every other boys for the start. So basically proud of himself. But with girls, he's basically acting, well, gentle because he was taught that you have to be good with girls. You do not hurt them. Some might be able to take it, but not all of them, compared to people with quirks that if they try to get a fight with you, well, basically they're the one who started it, so go for it. So yeah. So Izumi aged for a bit like that until Kachan got, well, until Bakugo got his quirk. And when he got his quirk for the first time, at some point someone tried to attack Izumi, because another boys was basically like, you're just a girl, you won't be able to do anything. And multiple people came to protect her, basically saying like, they can defend themselves because they don't have quirk. Why the hell would you try and attack them? And okay, I'm going to state it outright. Bakugo and Izumi are going to go out together. That's a fact, okay? So don't try to ship someone else with Izumi. It's going to be Bakugo and Izumi. And basically, right in that moment, Bakugo basically almost blew up. Well, no, he used. It was the moment where he actually activated his quirk for the first time, protecting Izumi. So, for both of them, it's kind of a big moment because, well, he got his quirk while protecting her. And yeah. So, later, with that, stuff happened, and like a month afterward, there was an accident that happened, and she got hurt. Not by Bakugo, but by another kid that basically just kind of threw his quirk around. Let's say he was basically with a quirk that let him just basically change the way the wind moved. Like, basically, if it's moving in one direction, he can basically just make it go stronger. So, not really something you can use as a hero because, well, you don't control the wind. And he threw a piece of metal on Izumi, giving her a scar near the eye, and she was basically screaming because it hurted a lot and she thought she would go blind. And her gravity quirk was basically going haywire for a bit. So small rocks and stuff like that were basically floating around and basically flying at high speed going around her, basically making a wall that protected her. That's why she will think that all she can do is control the ground, well, earth and stone, even though her quirk is literally that she can control everything that has a gravity field. So literally everything, even a million while he's um, permeating, while using his quirk. She could literally control him and basically throw him away from her. But that will take a while to know. So basically, when at some point, basically, let's say when that happened, Aizawa, I know, was passing by, like, he was coming back from a hero mission and was passing close to the school, and they saw a kid with his quirk going haywire, screaming, and basically no one could approach him. Well, he thought it was a guy because a quirk. He basically jumped the fence and used his quirk. Well, no, he didn't jump the fence, but he just used his quirk from afar and said, "Are you okay? Is everything alright?" And basically, when they got close to her, they were like, "Are you okay?" And her eyes, they basically brought her to the hospital. After a bit, Aizawa did go with them because, well, he was asking himself what happened. Basically, her eyes base has a scar that is. It didn't break her eyes. Well, I'm going to go look for an image to kind of show you. Okay, so the scar was basically like that, but it did touch her eye, so they, but not enough to damage it. So basically, it looks like that. But yeah, it won't be open, but that's basically how it looks like. So yeah, Aizawa basically asked what happened and how it happened, and Bakugo basically explained that a kid just kind of used his quirk and accidentally sent something in her face, and that she suddenly started doing that. Which Izumi is a kid, so a kid normally doesn't have that great of a pain tolerance. So, oh, I forgot to say that. When the stone were going around her, her body was growing a bit, like part of it was growing, going back to normal, continuing like that. It basically looked like something was trying to escape her body, but making it grow to try and explode it. But yeah, so basically she was activating both that quirk and her gigantification quirk. So Aizawa was surprised that a girl had a quirk. He was asking himself what he should do. And later, since if I remember correctly, he knew All Might in that time, he basically told it to All Might. And All Might decided to keep her in mind. Neither All Might nor Aizawa will go to talk to um, Izumi. The only people that will, well, most people won't know about her having a quirk for a while, except her school, where, like, for a week or two she was not in school because they would try to make her able to control her quirk. Well, quirks, which is also where they found out she could copy quirks at the same time. Basically, they used someone that was able to basically make rocks float or stuff like that, telling her to try and do that. No, not. She was able to control plants and make them um, move and grow, and basically she took a rock and placed it over the ground and asked her Izumi to try and make it float there. While they were in contact, Izumi basically thought that quirk's awesome. Then she tried to use her gravity powers, which she thinks is earth control, to keep the rock there. She was kind of able to, and while doing that, she was also thinking, she was just looking at the plant and like, I wish I could just move it and make it. And while she was thinking that, it was basically starting to move on its own. And the person, well, the guy that was showing her, that was trying to make Izumi control her quirk, basically was like, I'm not doing that. And after a while, they just thought, wait, does she has more than just those two quirks? So he thought maybe she has a copy quirk. they brought someone else. Basically, in that moment, she has a plant control quirk. They brought someone else, someone she knew, Bakugo, and basically asked Izumi to make contact with him and try to copy his quirk, which both of them were asking, what is he talking about? She still tried, and then he asked Bakugo how he does his explosion. He explained it, and then he asked Izumi to try and copy that, and it worked. So afterward, they said on her record, they basically placed or she has three quirks, or she has a copy quirk and copied a earth control and a gigantification quirk, or she has a gigantification quirk, an earth control quirk, or a copy quirk. So they don't know if it's only one quirk or three different quirks. It is three, don't worry. And for now, she doesn't know how to erase them, and they saw that she doesn't really have a time limit. So, yeah, for now, that's basically what they think. So, growing up, in her school, she was basically someone that was praised for having multiple quirks, and that it was a girl, so someone that for them shouldn't have one. So, okay, so growing up, basically, she trained her and Kachan because, well, she has it. They called them the exploding couple over their childhood and during middle school. And we take back the day where the anime start with the sludge-ridden attack, and so we start in the school, which at this point I would say that in this world they made two different middle school and high school. One where people with quirks go, and one where people without quirks go, since, well, after a while it becomes kind of dangerous with some of the quirks for people who don't have any. So basically, she's the only girl in the class, and when the teacher says Bakugo wants to go to UA, and then, oh, Izumi, you want to go too? Nobody laughs because, well, damn, she's one of the two more powerful people in the class. At this point, she's thanks to the plant quirk, gravity quirk, that she think is just controlling earth and rocks, Bakugo's quirk, and her gigantification quirk. She can use all of them pretty well. With gigantification, she can go about the size of a building right now, her whole body, or just make a part of her grow to the approximate size of what it would be if she's fully transformed. She can basically rip with her gravity quirk. She can basically lift up a big chunk of earth and mold it to make different forms. Sorry. So yeah, she can basically mold them to make different form that she wants. Not complex forms for now, but still she can make like a human-looking form. And with the plant control quirk, she can basically she augmented the strength enough so that now basically any plant she wants, she can change the color of it. Because basically, what she does is change the pigmentation in the plant, since every flower could be the same color because of the colorants they have in them. If you change them around, basically she's doing that, but in the whole plants. So basically, she always keeps special grains in a small bag on her that she throws it on the ground if she has practically any dirt for it to at least take roots. She can basically make it grow into anything she wants, and those grains are specifically made from a plant that she basically used that the plant control quirk. Basically, she used it at the maximum that she could to basically change it just enough so that the plant could have any color it wants. Basically, it's like mold, in fact. So she can basically try to make a human shape with the earth and then make mold around the whole thing that takes any color she wants. And she could basically make a perfect copy of herself almost. Not perfect, but a look-alike that she can control and make it move the way she wants to. So, if you're not looking correctly, basically you could mistake it for her. So, and okay, so for her explosion quirk, she's basically just like Bakugo. They're exactly on the same level, and it's exactly on the same level as Indiana anime, so that's pretty much easy to explain. And she didn't copy any other quirks for now, because she doesn't know if she has a limit, and even if she, and or even if she could erase some of them. So she literally didn't train that one at all. It still has 5 plays to take quirks, and naturally it augmented the diameter around her that she could take quirks from. Basically, over time, it just kind of grew on its own, even though she didn't use it. So she has 3 plays left. Well, 3 quirks left that she can copy. And in this moment, the distance that she can take from herself a quirk, she doesn't know about that, and she doesn't even know if she can erase quirk. But it's about 50 meters. It is really big, I know, but let me explain. When she started, well, actually, when it actually awakened, she, it was already about a meter around her naturally, compared to like the guy that can copy quirk that needs to touch the person. For Izumi, it was automatically a distance that she needed to, at least. And it just augmented on its own over time, naturally. So, yeah. Um, okay, so when she left that night, well, that afternoon, her mother called her to come fast because she needed help to make supper. Or no, she just said that there was something that was going to happen tonight and that she wanted Izuku to come help her with something. So Izumi passed by the tunnel and was about to be attacked by the sludge villain. She heard what was happening behind him. She turned, saw the sludge villain, and basically used an explosion on it. It hurt at him and was basically saying, "A girl with a quirk. Interesting. You will make a perfect body." And then Izumy, being scared, basically just grew her arm to basically block, well, grew her hand around her entire face to basically cover herself, and tried to attack her, basically saying, "Two quirks. That's interesting." Until, bam, something came out of the, something arrived behind them. And then he looked around and heard, "I am here." And then a massive wind pressure, basically pushing it away. Izumi had stopped using her quirk because she was starting to have no more oxygen. So when All Might blew the sludge villain off of her, she wasn't using her quirk. And he asked her if she was okay. She said yes. She asked him for an autograph. He gave it. Then she asked him, "Can a girl be a hero?" Then All Might said, "No, a girl cannot be a hero." Then she said, "But you didn't let me finish. Can a girl with a quirk can be a hero?" He looked at her like, "What do you mean?" And then he said, Izumi said, "I have a quirk. Well, multiple quirks." And basically, she made small explosion on her hand and said, "I was... Doctors say I have... that my genes have a mutation that actually activated the quirk gene in me." And All Might's like, "Wait, is your name Midoriya Izumi?" Which she says yes, and then he says, "Ah, a friend of mine called Eraserhead told me about you. It was about 9 years and a half, or it was almost 10 years ago, if I remember correctly." Then Izumi said, "Eraserhead? You mean the person that stopped me the first time I used one of my quirks?" He said, "Yes, he told me about it. So, it is you." And so he basically started thinking, "Wait, I have a time limit." And then he told her, "I have to go." Well, he told her he had to go. They said bye. He left. He didn't drop the bottle, and Izumi went home. For the 10 months of training, she started thinking, "Okay, I have to find a way to see if I have more, if I can copy more quirks, and if I can if I can take them off as well, because if she has a limit and that she can take them off, she wants at least to have good quirks." So, her and Bakugo basically train together. Okay, so in the first month of training together, Izumi thought about that, and Bakugo decided to tell her in class, no, he told her, okay, during the next day at school, we're going to go look for one of the more useful quirk in our class because he still think that all of their quirks are useless, basically. They go for the guy with wings, and when she copied that, no, not with the guy with wings. Let's say they have someone that can, um, let's say they have a guy that basically has a temperature resistance, like no matter the heat, no matter the cold, he won't be affected. So like he could swim in lava and won't have any problems, or be in the tundra completely naked and he won't even feel it. That's his quirk. So basically, he cannot be burnt or frozen unless you put ice around him. Then his body is fine, but he cannot move because of the ice. So basically, she copies that quirk by being in contact because she doesn't know about anything else, and then they start training her to be able to erase them of her list, which take her about like 2 hours before being able to. Then she tries it over and over again. Basically, she's over time she's just thinking of how to do it. Like, I just want it to go out. I don't want it anymore. I want to erase it. Until at some point, it's basically just kind of like she just thinks, wait, if I think about the quirks I have copied, then that I think of it as if I'm on a computer, and then she basically thinks in her head, take that quirk and send it to the trash. Then after she does that, Bakugo tries for basically how they tried it is she copied the quirk and then he was doing small explosion that were basically hot just enough to kind of send heat. After doing it like that, she basically felt the heat and was like, found a way. Then she tried it again by copying his work again, erasing it and doing that like that, and now she can basically just think, okay, put that quirk in the trash, and it erased it. So then they try to find how many she can store. So they go take quirks that are not physically changing but at first but can change when you activate it, and they see that she has only 5 slots available, 2 of which are quirks that she wants to keep. So yeah, she will keep explosion and plans for basically the entire time. No, not explosion. Plans, she will keep it for the entire time. Explosion, at some point she will give it up for something else. Not saying what. And no, she will not have one for all. That will go to a male version of who was it? Well, why did I say male version? He's already a guy. It's Tokoyami. He wasn't a girl. So yeah, Tokoyami is the one who will get one for all. So Dark Shadow will be a lot more powerful, as well as Tokoyami's body. And so during the 10 months of training, she basically finds one more quirk that she copies, which will be a um, She doesn't keep the temperature change, but let's say while they were in the street, they saw a hero fight, which at the end, basically, what the hero could do is change his, well, not change, but he could make wings grow off his back and basically retract them. And the hero was strong. No, it's not Hawk. It's another hero that's way lower. He's basically a hero that only deals with street level threat, like someone with a gun that just kind of went out to try and hurt one person in particular. He attacks those people. After seeing him in action, Izuku and Bakugo went up to him, saying that he's awesome. Well, yeah, Izuku still has the name. Izumy still has the name Deku for me because it's a lot easier to say most of the time. But she does not have it in the what if. It's just how I call her. So Deku basically goes fanboy, and then he thinks, wait, that quirk's useful. Then he tells, basically right now she has a hoodie on and something, so she doesn't look like a girl, and basically says, I have a copy quirk. Can I copy your quirk, please? It would be really useful for some, as a hero. Which the guy is flattered and basically says, yeah, you can. Because he thinks, okay, yeah, most copy quirk have a limit. Some don't, but he just thinks, well, she'll lose it at some point, so might as well. So Izumi trained to fly, trained her to other quirks that she had normally, as well as training her gigantification and earth control, even though it's gravity. So, um, Izumi did over time find out that she could take quirks from a distance. She. Okay, I'm going to change something. For now, it's not 50 meters. For now, it's only like 20. Because I just thought about it, it's way too OP. So, yeah, 20 meters. It's still big, but 2.5 times less than what I was giving her previously. So yeah, basically now she can fly with her wings pretty easily. She has the same strength of explosion as Bakugo in the original in the entrance exam. She can control plants to a point of making an entire tree grow in like a minute or so by concentrating on it. No, in like 10 seconds a full tree, but most of the time she doesn't use it to do that. Um, with her gigantification quirk, she can go about half the size that montlady was able to use. So she's still big, but not half. I mean, like 70% of the size that Montlady could use. She can control the size that she has, so she can just grow herself from a few centimeters if she wanted to, in fact. But her max size is like 70% of montlady. And for her earth control, after the 10 months of training, where basically she trained all of her quirks practically at once to try and use all of them at the same time, which she can control 3 quirks at once now. Not more. If she does more, she basically starts going. Well, she starts having a really big headache. Just 3 quirks at once, she basically already has one. Since 3 of her quirks, plant control, the earth thing, and the gigantification, basically she has to think about it. The explosion, she needs to think about it to control the size that she will do. And her wings, well, wings. So doesn't. So she just has to think about how to control them. So all of them, she basically has to think a lot about what she has to do. So yeah. So now that I explained everything, this will be called part 0 of what if Deku was the only female with a quirk. Hope you liked it. Natsu out.